Hey guys, it's Marshall from Going Gear, and today we're going to take a look at a brand that we haven't looked at in a while, Zebralight. So these are a couple of their newer headlamps. You got the H600 and the H600W. As you'll see in here in just a minute, they are pretty much the same headlamp, just different LEDs. So you've got the regular cool white LED on the H600, and then the neutral white or warm white, depending on who you ask what that W means, on the H600W. So let's go ahead and open these up. I'll show you what you get on the inside. Here is the light itself. That's the headlamp, or the flashlight, however you want to use it. Other things that you get in here, so you have some spare O-rings in case you happen to need to replace the O-rings. And I guess when I brought this one in, I did not include the headband. I was messing with this one earlier, so I guess I left the headband at work. Alright, so here's the H600W. This should have all the parts in it because I was not messing with it. So it had the user manual, spare O-rings. Here is the headband. I'm going to show you how to use that real quick because I didn't do that in a lot of my previous Zebralight videos and people complained. So we're going to show you how to use that real quick. Alright, so headband, really simple and easy to use. Just take and slide it into the two rings. This thing looks like it's not that robust, but I can tell you from experience of using one of these for years, it is very, very robust. It holds up really well, holds the thing in place really, really well. It doesn't slide around at all. You're not going to have problems with it adjusting angle or anything like that. And it's still easy to use, so it's still easy to adjust the angle. And the nice thing about it is the curvature of your head actually tightens it a little bit and holds it in place even better. So you can see, shaking it around, we have a lot of people use these for trail running and jogging and stuff like that. It doesn't move unless you move it, but you can move it really easily. And if you happen to wear yours out or get it gunked out or destroy it for some reason, you can get replacements for those. But that's the headband. Goes around your head. This thing's still really lightweight. You don't need the top band. It still holds it in place really well. Nice and comfortable. So I really like it. I've been using one of these for years, and Zebralight is definitely my headlamp of choice. As you can see, it takes a little bit of effort to get the light in and out, which is a good thing. You don't want to just super easy to get in and out. Alright, so that is the headband. So here are the two lights themselves. So like I said, the only difference that you're going to have is in the tint of the LED. So you can see, I can get the camera to focus, a little bit more of an orangish or yellowish color on the H600W. So what that's going to do is it's going to give you better color rendering, and you'll see that when we go outside. But it's a slightly lower output than you get on the H600. So there's a little bit of trade-off. It's definitely a personal preference thing. For flashlights, the overwhelming majority of our customers prefer cool white, but for headlamps, it's a little bit more even. So you see a lot of people that prefer, especially with the headlamps, because people tend to use headlamps in the outdoors, they're going to be going for the neutral white or the warm white or the high CRI, any of those kind of tints. So, but you'll be able to see that better when we go outside. So both of these lights powered by a single 18650. My 18650 of choice these days is the EagleTac 3100 milliamp hours with the Panasonic cells on the inside. Really awesome batteries. I took the tail cap off. You can see on the inside of the light. I'm going to go and slide that in. Just like with most of the lights, you always want to verify this on the operator's manual, the user manual. But usually the positive end goes towards the head or the LED of the light. And it's the same with this one. So we got the battery in that one. I'm going to go and stick another one of those EagleTacs in the H600W. I'll show you the interface on these. Zebralight interface, one of my favorite interfaces. I really like it because you can get to the three outputs very quickly, or the three different modes very quickly from off. And the way you do that is when you press and hold, it goes into the lowest output, so really low output. Camera makes it look a lot brighter than it actually is. And then double click will put you into a medium. You kind of saw it, but when you just tap it, it goes into the max output. You can see a pretty crazy high output on this. A single 18650, really compact little headlamp that puts out just an amazing, amazing amount of light. And you'll see how much this really is when we go outside. So each of those three different modes actually has a sub mode. So when you have it turned on, double click it and it'll go into that secondary output for each mode. And you can see, as long as you're just double clicking between those two, it's not going to switch into any of the other mode groups. But when you have it turned on, if you just press and hold, and you can do this from off as well, it'll cycle between the three different modes. So we'll do it from off as well. You can see it'll do the same exact thing. So a lot of people that don't like to memorize the different button presses or anything like that, or maybe they don't have the fastest motor skills in the world, they like to just press and hold, and you see the output that you like, just let go and you're good to go. And again, double click, whoops, tap it a few too many times. So when we have it in the low output, double click, it'll go into super low output, which this is honestly the one that I find myself using the most, because it's the perfect amount of light for when your eyes are adjusted to the darkness and you want to look inside your pack or look around in your tent or anything like that. That's a perfect amount of light for that. So it memorizes the output that you select for the 3 different mode groups. So if you want to have the lowest one in the very bottom output of those, if you want to have the medium in the lowest as well, and then you want to have the highest on the max, or the 6th highest, you can do that. So you can set it up exactly how you want, and it'll memorize it until you change it. So you can see and memorize those different outputs for each of the mode groups. So same exact interface on the H600W. We'll go through it again real quick. Press and hold for a second and it'll go into the low output. Double click, medium, whoops, tapping a little bit too fast, and then just tap it for high. And then each one of those, double click to select the secondary output. And you can just press and hold if you don't want to remember all that, and it'll select the 3 different outputs. Alright, for you advanced users, the high output actually has a little bit of further customization, so you can actually set it up to do some other outputs and strobe if you want to. And the way to get into that is to double click it 6 times. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we are in the customization menu. So what you do is you double click it to select between the different outputs and strobe. So if you want to have strobe as your secondary output for high, you can do that. So what you do is with the one you select, just turn it off and it's memorized. That's all you have to do. So when you have it on in high, double click it, and there you go. Your secondary output is a strobe instead. And like you saw, there's some other lower outputs that you can set it to as well. Alright, so now we have it set to strobe on the secondary. One note on this is that strobe is the one thing that it cannot be set to default to. So when you have it turned on, you can see I turned it off in strobe. If I turn it off and turn it back on, it's going to go back into that high output instead of going into the strobe. So of all the different modes and everything, strobe is the one that you cannot set it to default to when you first turn it on. But all the rest of them, it'll memorize. Alright, so that's the interface on the H600 and the H600W. We're going to go and take both of these outside and we'll show you how they do outside. Alright, here are the 2 Zebralights. Nice loud plane flying overhead. One of the many benefits of living next to an Air Force base. Big 40 mag light that I always use as the benchmark. Little bush 15 feet away, tree out there at 100 feet. You can see it's really tightly focused on the mag light. Not too bad at the distance, but not really lighting up a whole lot around it. So first off, we're going to try the H600. And there it is on high. Crazy high output out of this little thing. Really compact, really lightweight. This is the max output. There's your strobe, but just to show you it was the max output. Then we're going to cycle through the different outputs, go through the low, medium, and high. And again, I have the low and the medium set to the lower modes. That's actually the secondary of the lower mode. So pretty good for more up close kind of stuff. And just to show you the low real quick. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but maybe you can see it flashing around a little bit, but I can't actually see what's going on in front of me. So for really up close stuff, illuminating what's in front of you, low is perfect. And if you need the distance, you have that option. So there's the H600. Let's try the H600W. There you can see the color difference. So closer to what you saw with the mag light. It's more of a neutral tint, better color rendering. You can see the greens and browns look more green and brown. Definitely a personal preference kind of thing. I'll show them to you side by side. There's the cool white on the left, neutral white on the right. So you can see the higher output of the cool white. Total preference thing. Hopefully this will show you the difference a little bit better. All right, let's try these out at a longer distance. Got some more distance to work with the 2 Zebralights. 40 mag light. Let's go and try it out. There is the house at 50 yards. Tree in the front yard at 100 yards. Doesn't make it out to the tree all that great. Let's try out the H600 first. So there you can see, just to prove that it is actually the H600. because it's pretty incredible that it can make it out to the top of that tree and light it up pretty darn well. For such a compact light, relatively small reflector, this thing just puts out a ton of light for its size. It lights up a really wide area, so you can see everything for probably about 50-60 yards is lit up really well, and obviously it can go out to 100 yards, no problem. But that's the max output. I'll just hold down the switch and let it cycle through. Obviously it's not going to go out to the far distances with the two lower outputs, but you can see up close stuff does really well. And if you need the distance, you have that max output. So that was the H600 H600W. Just make sure it's in the highest output. It is. So this makes it a little bit more apparent the difference that you get between the two. So the throw's not as great on this just because the output's not as great, but colors are really nice on it. Greens and browns look more green and brown. Great headlamp for outdoor kind of stuff, and if you prefer for your colors to be a little more accurate, the H600W is a good way to go. We'll do them side by side. So there's the H600 on the left, 600W on the right. We'll shine them back and forth across that tree just so you can see a little bit better how they do. So there you go. That's the Zebralight H600 and H600W. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach us in the comments or at goinggear.com. And if you like the video, be sure to subscribe. We put out a lot of flashlight and other gear videos. Thanks for watching.